a classic spawn for single target paladins that just recently got buffed. This is the Yalahar Grims. This spawn is located in the Yalahar cemetery, and all you will need is access to the Yalahar city, and then you can go through the magician quarter by talking to the guards. I covered this spawn recently for the Nightmares, and this video will cover the underground with the Green Reapers, which are the only creatures you find here, other than the Nightmares on the way in and out. The level recommended is over 90 to use crystalline arrows, but this spawn gets a meaningful upgrade at 150 with spectral balls, and then at over 200 for AoE hunting. But on this video, I will focus on the level 100 range with crystalline arrows. For this hunt, you will need firewall runes, about 35 for 40-minute hunts with around 900 arrows and 250 grey mana potions. This is also with at least 1 tier 3 mana leech or 2 tier 1s, but the most important item to have and know how to use is an energy ring. This hunt for the most part is safe, but this is while the greens are kept at a distance and behind firewalls. However, that's not always the case. Sometimes another will respawn on top of you, forcing you to deal with two, or sometimes they cast a strong haste and catch up to you, and a green in melee range with a good combo can headshot a paladin. And if there is two of them, then it's even easier to die. I will give some tips on how to deal with that, but first, this recording was done before the most recent balancing patch, which improved the spawn, starting with a higher density of about 1 green per pool, to also connecting some of the caves together. This is worth pointing out because before this change, even with a weak character, I will need to move between the caves to get enough respawn. That is no longer necessary even with a strong character, but hunting like that on a new server character, my experience was at around the 460k, which should be around the 500 with the changes. Moving on to the stronger character, for this one I chose to hunt on the southern cave, because before the density change I was doing both, and for personal preference this one is easier to hunt, since the Grims are at a similar distance unlike the northern cave. Additionally, as you can see, I'm starting off with a situation where I had to deal with two Grims. The first way to deal with this is to continue kiting on the firewall, but with the energy ring equipped, since now you will be forced to have at least one in close range. Another way that is also risky is to go upstairs and have them run back. This was the way to go before the changes, but now there is two Grims upstairs as well, and you won't have the firewall set up. Here I had no choice but to go up because a third Grim was respawning, and the way to deal with the upstairs is to block the path with a firewall, recover your mana on the other side, and then attack one Grim to bring him in, which is the third way to deal with Overlure. When doing this, you need to get hit once for the green to start respecting the firewalls again. This is applicable downstairs as well, and is a permanent way to make the hunt safer, since you will be able to control the amount of greens you do at a time. With this character level 100, with distance 118, and just the bow fully tier 3 in view, my experience was almost 700k raw. And an important step to make this kind of experience is to use Utiro Tempo. At level 100 you can unlock the first perk of the wheel to be able to remove the paralyze of the Utiro Tempo, but that is not even necessary for this spawn. It's helpful but not mandatory. Regardless, it's highly encouraged to start using it, especially in this kind of hunt where you are not at a constant risk. That does a lot for your experience. And if you're wondering why I was using Exoricon, even though they are strong to physical and weak to holy, it's precisely because of the Utiro Tempo. That was making my Exoricon same or stronger than my Exorisan, but with the added benefit of the extra range. So if you have a character with high distance, it's worth trying. Another thing that can boost the damage is to use Exebomasan every other turn. This is more mana consuming and also it requires the green to be closer, so I wasn't doing it all the time, mostly when it was hasted since it was easier to hit. Lastly, this is not going to be profitable. You may cover your supply sometimes if a Nightmare Blade drops, but considering imbuement cost is likely always a waste. However, make sure to check out the price of the mystical hourglass in the market, as these are needed for the death protection imbuement and sometimes they can be expensive. With that said, once you're done with the hunt, be careful on the way out. I think the best way is going to be running through the nightmares, but even that can be scary. However, trying to kill your way out is just as hard, since you're going to be with at least 2 nightmares plus some science and whatever you end up luring extra. So keep that in mind and save some supplies for that. Also, please consider subscribing if you like the content, and check out my playlist for solo paladins for more options to hunt. Thank you for watching, and a special thanks to the supporters of the channel, The Guild Causality, Night Star, and Tuna Hero.